Alrighty. Well, hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monterey Bay Aquarium here live all across the internet. We are hopefully starting to stream some data now over to Twitch, to YouTube, to Twitter and Periscope, over to Facebook as well. Good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick. I work at the aquarium here in social media, and joining me right now, and I can even bring him up on screen. Here we go. We got the technology. We've got Emily down here, this direction, and we've got Theresa over here on that side of the screen. Theresa and Emily, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing
Great.
awesome. Yeah. So I'm Patrick here, and again we've got Emily, who's the other half of the social media team. She's the puffin. I'm the mola, and Emily, we've coordinated this. Finally, we have the Open Sea background that you can get from our website.
Yes.
So we're in the Open Sea right now, Theresa. We're one of your subjects now that you're taking care of there in
Nice.
in the Open Sea. And Theresa, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what your job is here at the aquarium? And I'll take us off screen and put you up there.
Great. Again, my name is Theresa, and I'm one of the senior aquarists here at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. And one of my jobs is to actually take care of the Open Sea exhibit, which is conveniently behind us. My main job is to tend to day-to-day requirements, whether it be feeding or cleaning, and maintaining the health of our animals in the exhibit.
Okay. And Emily, we've got folks that are maybe tuning in here right now. What kind of questions do we have? I'm going to spotlight Emily's video there. Look at us go.
Well, lots of people just excited. I know that the Open Sea exhibit is a favorite place for many, many people here. Theresa, a site that not a lot of people get to see when they're actually at the aquarium, but they've seen a lot of as we've been streaming the cams while we've been closed, is this bubble curtain that we're watching right now. Can you explain a little bit about the bubble curtain and what it's for?
Yeah, so during normal operations, most guests don't see our bubble curtain. But now that we are closed to the public, we've actually kept this bubble curtain on for the most of the day. And the main reason is it helps provide a visual cue to our exhibit animals that there is a window there. These animals live out in the pelagic world. There's no rocks or kelp or structure. So these curtains of bubbles helps them cue in that there is actually a window there and they need to turn around.
Awesome. Yeah. So some of the let's see if I put myself up on screen, is it going to say, yeah, look, the host has spotlighted your video for everyone. That's me. So we have the bubble curtain on behind us here. Again, that sort of night light for the fishes there. Can you describe to us some of the animals that we have behind the bubble curtain at the moment? Because this exhibit here has some really amazing wildlife that is actually pretty rare to see in a zoo or aquarium, but represents some animals that are very abundant, or at least key to their open ocean landscape. This world away from the coast.
Yeah, definitely. If you can look in the background, most of the fish you're going to see are pelagic, as we've described, and the bulk of them are going to be what we call yellowfin tuna. And those are going to be kind of the football-shaped fish that kind of swim around mid-water column on the exhibit. But if you look way up on top, you're going to have these almost iridescent colored fish. They can be yellow, they can be gold, they can be a very pretty blue, almost a silver. And those are our dorado or mahi-mahi. And those guys tend to always stay up on the top.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna see here about putting a mahi mahi up on screen. But yeah, keep going. I'll see if I can get those animals up there for everybody.
Cool. We also have a couple of more individual animals in here. We of course have our two green sea turtles. They're both female, and you'll see them swim around wherever they feel like. Darting in and out of the Sardine School, or maybe just taking a nap on the bottom. We also have 5 Pelagic Stingrays, which you'll see hovering around the exhibit and even up kind of in the back along the wall. And they're just kind of tinkering around looking for bits of food to try and eat. One of our last, sort of the coolest, are our 3 scalloped hammerhead sharks. These are also both female, and they're still pretty young. They're probably about 6 feet long, maybe now. And you'll see those guys zoom all over the place, looking, again, for little niblets of food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Awesome.
are the bulk of them.
Awesome. Cool. Here, I'll put all of us up here on view right now while I tinker over here. Emily, that you and Theresa can have a conversation sideways over here, and then I'll put the okay. So first of all, there's that mahi mahi is up on screen now. It's also known as dorado or dolphin fish, or if you hear of a fish referred to as just dolphin, it would be a mahi mahi there. So those you'll see up near the surface. And let me see now if I can switch this over. There's that pelagic stingray very quickly. Absolutely adorable. They look so smiley there with the little mouth there underneath the flap. So there's that pelagic stingray you were mentioning. And then let's see, who else did I have prepped? Oh, there's that scalloped hammerhead shark, which is actually your icon there right now, Theresa. So
My favorite.
there we go. And then I think the last one I wanted to just show to everyone was you were mentioning the tuna before and the green sea turtles. Okay, found the turtle. There's one of our big green sea turtles. You might get to see them going by there. We've got 2 big green sea turtles and then the tuna. And I think this is just a fantastic viewer experience for everybody. I would hope as I just live produce. Okay, perfect. So there's our tuna. So those are the kind of key animals that you'll see in there going by. But then some of our favorites, I don't know if we gave too much time to them, but is the Sardine School, which is, people show up to the aquarium very excited to see the big fish, and then it's the thousands of smaller fish that get very exciting there as well. Okay, there we go. That was all of those. I think we did okay. I'll go back over here. Theresa's back live. And now let's put Emily on. Emily, what kind of questions do we have for Theresa?
Yeah, so we actually had a question earlier over on Twitch from someone curious about those green sea turtles that you just had the picture up of, Patrick. How long have the green sea turtles been with the aquarium, and do we have an estimated age on them, Theresa?
Yeah, there is an estimated age. They are, I believe, just shy of 70 years old. They are both females. And I am blanking on the exact date at which they arrived here at Monterey Bay, but it has been over a decade plus since they've been here with us. Neat fact, the largest of the 2 sea turtles almost weighs 500 pounds.
Whoa.
Wow, she's gotten bigger since the last
Yeah.
time.
She has.
Oh, goodness. Well, that's excellent. Emily, you're back up. Any more questions here for the folks?
Yeah, I love this question that we just got. Has to do with your favorite animals, Theresa, our hammerhead sharks. Have our hammerhead sharks ever reproduced via parthenogenesis? And can you tell folks a little bit about what parthenogenesis is?
Sure. Our 3 scalloped hammerhead sharks, as I said, are all 3 females, but they are all still too young to be reproductively active. With this particular species, most females have to be, on average, at least over 8 feet long. And that could mean they're anywhere from 10 to 15 years old. These guys are got several years to go before they get to that age. So they don't even have the option of trying to reproduce by parthenogenesis, which is a form of reproduction which doesn't require the assistance of a male. And it is noted in a few elasmobranchs or sharks and ray species that they are able to reproduce themselves via this method. Our ladies, just too young to try.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty that's a very it's a
Great.
very specific question that we got there
Yeah.
from the audience just then. That's also quite the big
I
word there.
love it.
Parthenogenesis is the word of the day there. We got it out before noon there, Theresa. So
Whew.
we're doing good. Had a quick question for you, Theresa. Would you be able to walk us around a little bit there in the back? Do we feel comfortable going on a little tour there of the open sea? And in that case, I'll put you up on a little bit of a bigger screen there.
Yeah, certainly. You'll have to pardon a bit of the shaky camera, but we'll take a little tour here of the top of open sea.
Nice.
So this is a view most people and guests actually don't get to see. But this is the view that I, as one of the many aquarists who work on this exhibit, see every day. So you can kind of see, it looks like a big swimming pool, and it is. And it's surrounded by walkways that go all the way around the exhibit. That allows us to gain access to pretty much the entire top of OS.
Excellent.
You can also see behind me this big yellow catwalk. We'll kind of walk over here. This is actually where we do our broadcast feeds for the open seas. And our broadcast feeds target the mahi that we were talking about, the yellowfin tuna, and some of our smaller pelagics like the bonito or our skipjack. So if you can see out there at the end of this catwalk, that's where we put the food, and we stand out there and we broadcast the food, or we just sort of spread it around and let the fish come and eat themselves.
That's awesome.
You can also see if I meander all the way over here, way over here, you can see we have obviously lots of lights and lots of filtration that helps keep the water clean and also lit so our guests can see inside. But we have this really neat door right here, and if you can see this kind of walkway, this is actually a gate that we can open and close that helps us access our outside holding pool. If we ever need to move an animal off exhibit for medical exams, or like our sea turtles, we actually gate them off so they can get some sunshine.
Awesome. Thanks for the tour. Yeah, and those green sea turtles moving in and out of the exhibit is something that I think a lot of folks here. I'll put us back here in the gallery view as you're walking. That is definitely something that I think most people don't think about. Is that exhibit space is enclosed, and the green sea turtles, they head outside for some health reasons that might be rather curious for people to think about. Can you tell us why the green sea turtles would want to head back outside?
Yeah, so sea turtles are reptiles, so they do need to have sunlight in order to help them, just like us, kind of synthesize calcium, and like in us, vitamin D. Most sea turtles, they're out swimming in the wild, so sunshine is always there. But with our animals on exhibit here, we do have lights, but no direct sunshine. So that's why we gate them. You can kind of see the big door out there. Outside, about 4 times a week, to have some spa days in our holding pool. They also receive additional training outside and some enrichment toys.
Excellent. Cool. Good stuff. Here, I'll put Emily back up on screen for a quick question for you, Theresa. It appears that our feed, by the way, Emily, of the Open Sea Cam has frozen there. So we've got bubbles just in place. So we're just going to go back and forth between the rest of us here for the moment. But Emily, what kind of questions do the folks have out there?
We've gotten so many questions. And first, real quick, before we get to that question, I just wanted to do a quick shout out over on Twitch. We had one of our followers just gift a whole bunch of subscriptions.
Oh, whoa.
To some of the folks who are watching. So just huge thank you over there. to our followers who are our gift and subscriptions. We really appreciate that support right now. But to hop into the questions, just a basic one, which I don't think that we've mentioned right now, Theresa. How many gallons of water are in the open sea, and where does all that water come from?
Good question. So the Open Sea exhibit is about 1.2 million gallons. And this is full strength seawater. We actually pump in seawater from our Monterey Bay, which is just outside the back door. It is transported into the building and cleaned up via filters. So the water is always nice and crystal clear for our guests. If you're wondering about the tank itself, it is about 35 feet deep at its very deepest level. On average, it's about, I'm trying to remember the exact number. Well, it's about 90 feet long, and it's roughly 50 feet wide and that 35 feet deep. And our main window that you can see our webcam through is actually a very impressively large window. It's about 17 feet high. It's a little over 56 feet long, and it's just under 13 inches thick. It is a big window.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
We've got our stream back, Emily. We're looking good now.
I saw that.
Look at
Theresa,
us
you
go.
did a great job with the numbers, coming from Patrick and I, who used to have to say those numbers every day during the feeding presentations. I'm very impressed that you got those numbers there. They're hard to remember. That was awesome. And yeah, just so many people in awe about the size of our open sea exhibit. It's definitely a sight to see there. This is also a kind of another one of the top questions that we usually get. Theresa, do the sharks eat the other fish inside of this exhibit?
Well, we try to tailor their diets and their diet amount, how much food we're feeding them, so they don't eat their friends. But we also are exhibiting both predator and prey in this exhibit. So nature does have a way of continuing on, even though we do provide ample diet. We do occasionally see the hammers or even the tuna or mahi eat one of their teammates.
Right. There's only so much that can be done to keep the to keep the peace in there, and especially every so often if one of the sardines isn't feeling too hot that day and one of the mahi is feeling a little bit extra hot that day, then that certainly can happen. But we like to say that some of those, as much as we try to keep that from happening, some of these animals are being molecularly upgraded into the next level of the food chain. And then also something that I think was interesting that I learned recently, been working at the aquarium for a little while, but something I learned recently from Dr. Mike and that team, that actually having the animals with predator and prey dynamic and then trying to limit, that, but having those animals there together actually helps increase the overall health of the animals in their time while they're there, because it encourages their natural behaviors, their natural tendencies, and keeps them a little bit healthier, right?
That is 100% correct. Our animals are able to exhibit natural behaviors, whether it be chasing or fleeing, and it does create an environment that boasts a better health, overall welfare for our animals.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay, we're back to you, Emily, here. What do the folks want to know out there?
Another really interesting question that just came in over on Facebook, Theresa, and it's a question that not a lot of people really think about when they're looking at fish. But do fish sleep, and what kind of sleep patterns do these fish inside of our exhibit have?
Well, fish don't sleep like we do. They don't lay down, close their eyes, tuck themselves into a bed. Most of these fish actually have to keep swimming in order to stay alive. So they kind of do something similar that's been recorded in like marine mammals. They can kind of shut off half their brain at a time. So their basic functions of maybe slowly swimming, being at least slightly aware of their surroundings so they don't run into things or are aware of any predators or prey that might be around, while not fully being awake. So our fish don't lay down, they don't take naps, they're continually swimming. They just kind of resort to a slower, more basic swimming pattern that we can't actually see very well from the human perspective. They kind of look like they're always swimming. So I can't tell when my fish are sleeping.
Yeah, it's that part of not having any eyelids either is really one of those things where it's like you just really can't tell who's asleep, who's not asleep, and yeah. With many of the fish though in your care behind in the open sea, many of them do keep swimming their whole life for breathing purposes, and that, you know, for us when we swim, we have to expel a lot of energy to do that. But you can kind of think about how if you're lying down and sleeping, you're still going to be breathing, your digestion might slow, but things are like processes are still happening there. And for many of these fish, that swimming motion is just like a breathing motion for us. It's an automatic thing that kind of continues. And especially for some of those animals, they do keep swimming pretty much their whole life once they get going, right?
Yeah, most species, especially in this exhibit, do keep swimming almost all the time. Some of the animals, like the pelagic rays, they can sit on the bottom and rest, but everybody else has to be up and swimming.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, Emily, back to you if there's any questions here.
Oh, definitely, Patrick. I'm trying to pick some of the ones that a lot of people are asking right now because we have lots of questions coming, and we're going to try and get to as many as we can. We're going to stick with some of the big common questions that are hitting us right now. Theresa, lots of folks, just like us, are fans of the ocean sunfish, the mola mola. We don't have one currently inside of the open sea, correct?
You are correct. Our molas, or our ocean sunfish that you can sometimes see in our exhibit, are actually temporary inhabitants in here. As being the largest bony fish in the world that can get up to 5,000 pounds, this exhibit is too small for them at that size. So we only keep them to maybe about 250 pounds, and then we return them to the wild where they continue the species and hopefully produce lots of little baby molas.
Absolutely, and I should point out for my own selfish reasons here that I am the mola down there, and it is ocean sunfish are one of my favorite animals that we have in the Monterey Bay. In the ocean generally, they look so bizarre, but they are actually a very well adapted animal. So I know that some of you folks out there may have seen that viral Facebook post saying that they're useless, they're barely better than plankton, etc. That's just mola slander, and we won't allow it. They are incredible animals. We have them at the aquarium, and also in the Monterey Bay right now. Actually, we've had a few messages come in on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, where people have been walking along the beaches here and they found molas washed up on the beach, kind of wondering what's going on. Those are often sea lions that are getting to them, but we have them right out here in the Monterey Bay, right, Theresa? So these are a local fish, and you don't have to travel around the world to go see them. These are local marine wonders of the Monterey Bay.
Yeah, we the ones we do exhibit come right from our own bay, and I have heard those reports as well. They're seeing what I call dinner plate size. Yeah. So think of like a big dinner plate. Very cute little baby molas.
Yeah.
We tend to get them just a little bit bigger, just so they're not small, but that is actually what we're really looking for as an exhibit animal.
And one other thing too, you may have heard that there was the mola tecta, the hoodwinker mola, that was found in the Monterey Bay recently, and maybe even as far back as 2015. So there might be two different types of molas there. Just want to bring that up because that was something that we had on social media. But Theresa, this might be a really good time to transition into a little trick that we're going to try, because we have this have this photo up of this massive mola, and to move them in and out of the exhibit, there is a special area outside off the back of the open sea that we're going to see if we can get some remote viewing of. If you want to give that a shot, what do you think?
Yeah, let's give her a shot. I'll head on out.
Okay, let's see. So I will get rid of this, and then I will transition Emily up on screen. Theresa is walking away, and now we're going to see about welcoming Theresa's iPhone into this conversation. What do you think, Emily? Think it's going to work?
I hope it's going to work. We did the test yesterday.
We did the test yesterday.
So, my hopes.
Okay.
I believe in Theresa.
I think it's working. Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
We can. We've got Theresa outside the building. Yeah. All right.
Switch around my view here. What we've got outside is our outside holding pool. This is what I was describing as our turtle spa, but it can also be used for mola.
Yeah.
And if you remember that door I was talking about, that gate, this is kind of the other side of that gate that we can open and close to move animals in our holding pool.
Theresa, we actually had a few folks who are curious. How do you actually move those turtles over there? How do we bribe them basically to get into that holding pool?
Well, luckily, our turtles are actually target trained. So we have objects that we have associated with food, and the turtles especially understand that they need to go to their target. My targets are inside, so I can walk in and get some, but they need to follow their target in order to receive their treats or their diet. And we are able to use this big door and have them follow a target on a stick all the way out to the holding pool.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Theresa, just real quick, the view that we're looking at right now of the turtle spa, something that not many folks know is that the ground in that turtle spa can actually come up and down, right?
Yeah, so right now it's pretty shallow, and I've actually got the controller right here. So what is neat is if we need to do like an annual medical exam on our turtles, which we do, we can lower this floor, swim the turtles out, and then we can actually, there'll be a weird noise, bring up this floor. You can see it coming up, and it'll actually all come all the way out of the water, just like that. And this way it gives us and our vets an easy access to our turtles. So we can do measurements, blood draws, or any other medical treatments that are needed.
That's excellent.
So cool.
I've actually never seen that happen in person before, so that was like very cool to just see. That was awesome.
Nice.
And can you pan up to the crane that is casting that shadow there, just in case people are wondering what that line there is across? Up and to your left there, we have a big old crane that extends out over Cannery Row there. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the main crane part is actually still inside Open Sea. Inside, here's this big door. So here you can see our crane. And this crane runs along this I-beam here, and it actually can travel all the way out.
Whoa!
It's noon.
It's noon on Cannery Row. That's the Hovden Cannery whistle there, everybody. That would have been the whistle that would have let the folks working for that cannery know, hey, time to get up, time to come down. There's sardines to come and get, and you'll hear that play every day at noon. You can hear it from many miles away, and there it was.
There it was. But at the end of this I-beam, this is actually hanging out, if you can see. This is over Cannery Row. So we are able to bring down or hoist animals all the way down to the street where we could meet up with a transport truck. And if we needed to move it maybe back to the main aquarium, which is down there, or being released out into the wild, which is behind this building.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah, and that crane there is what we use to move those large sunfish, and then as you were saying, those other animals that that come in and out there. In case you were wondering, well, how do we get the sunfish out? That's the technique right out there off the back. That's awesome, Theresa. Do you want to head back inside, get out of the wind? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I can do that and get out of the sun and the wind. It's a bit chilly today.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. We will go to Emily. You're in there for a seamless transition. Seamless transition. That's what we're doing. The high production value day here.
Exactly. Patrick, we did have quite a few questions come in during that time about how we are moving some of those animals, and there are different types of slings and carriers and kind of big holding pools that we can attach to that crane. So depending on the kind of animal that's actually coming into the aquarium, we have a very specific container basically that we're using to lift those animals up the crane. It's not a kind of one size fits all. We don't have to transport like every single sardine individually, although that would be adorable to have a teeny tiny little sardine sling that we have to lift up
Absolutely.
with that crane there. So great questions coming in, curious about that. And then when we get Theresa back, we've got more questions.
Oh yeah, we've got Theresa is back. We made it.
All right.
There she is.
Excellent. Theresa, a couple folks curious. I know that we showed the turtle spa lifting up there. I don't think that you mentioned how deep exactly does it go down though?
So that pool is about 22 feet in diameter. It's a roughly 26,000 gallons, and it can be about 8, almost 9 feet deep. When I first had it lowered, that was only like a foot or two down.
Great.
Awesome.
All right. And then another person over on Facebook, very curious, you get one of the coolest jobs in the world, Theresa, working with all of these incredible animals. What kind of degree would someone need to get in order to have a job like yours?
Well, I will say that I actually got a bachelor's of science in marine biology, but also degrees in just biology or oceanography are also equally important and can be very useful. Some of the key aspects, though, are internships, especially during your senior or your junior year, or even before that. It is important to get yourself out there and get internships at different aquariums or science centers, so you network and get to know what the job is really about. And that way, when you graduate, you can have references and some job experience when you start applying for entry-level aquarium positions. And that is what I did. I did internships. I actually volunteered. I kept annoying the institution I wanted to work for until they finally hired me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, squeaky. Well, a squeaky whale gets the what? What's the? Let's workshop it all together. The squeaky whale gets the krill ball. Let's just say that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. We figured it out. Copyright this stream just now. Perfect. Okay, I've got the rest of us here up on screen. Hello, everyone. By the way, if you are just tuning in from anywhere around the internet, we've been talking here for about 36 minutes with incredible aquarist extraordinaire Theresa, who's currently at the aquarium. We're live from my living room and from the aquarium and from Emily's living room there as well. We're the social media team right here, and then Theresa I'm pointing the wrong way. Theresa over here at the aquarium taking care of those animals during this closure. So send us your questions. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, we've got the open sea in the background with the bubble curtain up right now. Just did a quick little tour there. Okay. I guess that's like a radio spot. You just like, hey everybody, it's the aquarium. Okay, back to you, Emily. What kind of questions do the folks have for us?
We have lots of Elasmobranch fans in the audience today, which they fit in very well with the group that we're hanging out with this afternoon. Theresa, we talked a little bit about the Hammerhead Sharks that are in here, but can you tell us any fun, cool stories about our Pelagic Stingrays?
Well, 2 of our Pelagic Stingrays, as I said, all 5 are female. 2 of our Pelagic Stingrays are a bit older than the other 3. And I'm trying to remember, I believe they are 13 years old. I'm not 100% sure, but they are quite old for Pelagic Stingrays. And these 2 ladies have actually been with us for, well over a decade. The 3 younger ladies were introduced maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, can't remember. But the fun fact is these guys were collected from the wild and introduced into Open Sea exhibit. But unbeknownst to us, they were actually pregnant. 2 of them were pregnant. So a couple months later, we came in one morning and we found little tiny baby Pelagic Stingrays flapping around in OS. They were probably about the size of a saucer. And I believe we had 4 pups from one female and I think another 3 or 4 from the other one. These little pups we actually continued to raise here at the aquarium. And then they've continued their life on at a different aquarium so they can grow up there.
Awesome. I just want to just quickly put myself back up on screen and apologize for the struggle bus that you just watched of the Pelagic Stingray text just showing up absolutely everywhere. We're trying our best, but every so often things happen in the software that it doesn't understand. So you had a Pelagic Stingray over your face for much of that, Theresa. I assume that that's not anything negative for you, but in case you were wondering why stuff was jumping around, we are doing work over here. I think it just happened again. All right.
It's okay.
It's okay, everybody. So anyway, Pelagic Stingrays. It was up on screen, and you had it over your face there for a little bit, Theresa. Hope that was okay.
Cool.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Save me, Emily. Let's go back to the audience. You're back spotlit. Tell us what the questions are other than when does Patrick stop producing these?
You're doing, lots of folks are saying you're doing a great job.
Oh, okay, thank you. I've got the pity party. It's okay, everyone.
We're pro streamers at this point.
We are absolutely.
Right? No, so Theresa, kind of along those lines, we were just talking about some of the baby Pelagic Stingrays. Who's the newest animal that we have in our exhibit? A lot of folks here are members that are tuning in right now. And they're curious about if there is anyone who's new inside or just who the newest animal is in our Open Sea exhibit.
And before you answer that, I finally got the Pelagic Stingray text where I wanted it.
Proud.
There it is.
I'm very proud.
It's where we wanted it. Okay, now we're back to you, Theresa, and I'll hide that attempt in shame. Go ahead and answer the great question. I'll get out of here.
Nice. I was trying to recollect. Probably the newest fish that we have is, or a few, yellowfin tuna that we probably introduced last fall. We do add new yellowfin tuna about every year, as well as more sardines every year. Sardines are actually a couple times a year. Most of our other inhabitants, like the turtles and the pelagic rays and the sharks, have been here for quite a while. We also actually added some new mahi as well, probably last summer. Um, so nothing terribly new. Of course, at some point in this year, we will be adding some more yellowfin and probably some more sardines, but we don't have a date for that yet.
Great.
Awesome.
Another question here, Teresa. I know that, we always joke that these animals kind of get better health care than us humans do because we have so many staff keeping an eye on them 24 hours a day, making sure that they're healthy and well taken care of. We have Dr. Mike, our amazing veterinarian, who helps to take care of our animals. But how can we tell if an animal isn't feeling well? It's not like a human where I can tell a doctor, hey, this is what's wrong with me. So, how do we take care of our animals and how can we tell if they're not feeling well?
That's actually a really good question. And that is a really major part of an aquarist's job. And it does take a few years to kind of learn fish behaviors, what would be acceptable, what not would be acceptable. And of course, behaviors change between fish species or fish types. And even individual fish have different behaviors from the same fish that's also living. What it really entails is that we look at our fish all day, every day. So we get a very familiar baseline of how are they swimming, how fast are they swimming, are they swimming in the right part of the tank, are they respiring or breathing at an appropriate rate, do their color look good or is it blotchy, do we see any wounds, um, are they a good body condition so they're not too big or too thin, they're just right. These are things we look at our fish every day. And we actually have welfare surveys that we perform on all of our fish quarterly, where we can record and rate how our fish are doing. And we can look at those ratings over time to make sure things are continually either acceptable or really good.
Awesome.
That's a great question there, and
Yeah.
great answer, and so many amazing aquarists. We even have some of our colleagues tuning in right now, our husbandry colleagues tuning in right now and cheering you on, Teresa. You're doing an amazing job representing the Pelagic Magic crew, the Open Sea team. Just real quick, I'm going to rapid fire answer a couple of questions that I saw go by that are just repeats that we answered towards the beginning of the broadcast. But in case you are just tuning in right now or tuning in right
Oh,
now,
there it was.
we hadn't done a pun really
We
all
had it.
stream,
It's not
Patrick.
Teresa.
So
Teresa, we haven't done
we're-
enough puns. So if you happen to have any puns, if you could just like ruminate on them because
would be
we'll have those rapid.
fantastic.
Fantastic, absolutely.
I'll work on it.
Okay, perfect.
So just rapid fire answering a couple of questions. There are folks curious about how large this exhibit is. The Open Sea exhibit has about 1.2 million gallons of seawater inside. The window that we are looking at right now, about 17 feet tall, 56 feet long, and just under 13 inches thick. Absolutely incredible that acrylic window there, holding back again 1.2 million gallons of seawater. And then someone was curious about, again, where this water is coming from. It's coming straight from the Monterey Bay. We use many different types of filtration to keep that water nice and clean, including biofilters that we're using, and then UV and ozone, especially on this side of the aquarium, to keep this water nice and clear, just like it would be out there in the open ocean for these animals. But that is coming straight from the bay. Someone was curious about how much water is coming into the aquarium. It's about 1,500 gallons of seawater per minute that are coming in straight from the bay. So in a day, they were curious about, and if I do my math right, that's just over 2 million gallons of seawater coming into the aquarium every single day. And then again, being filtered and cleaned before it goes back out into the bay as well. So back to questions for you, Theresa. Got all
Yeah.
of those
Well,
the
just
numbers
first of all,
done.
just a quick little round of applause there for Emily for knocking it out of the park. Emily is one of the staff who's spent many hours in front of the exhibit window answering these questions. So you still got it, Emily. That
I
was
still got it. Yep,
crushed,
I still got
crushed
that.
it. Absolutely destroyed that. Nice, well done. All right.
All right, so back to
Yep.
questions for you, Theresa. I got all the numbers out of the way there, so that we didn't have to worry about that. Folks curious about those sardines. We really haven't seen them on the camera right now. So where do they go when we don't see them on the camera?
Well, as we were talking about earlier, there's both predator and prey in here. And if you look, we talked about the yellowfin tuna hang out in the middle of the water column. Those mahi are on the top of the water column, and those are their main predators. So the sardines are on the bottom because that's where they feel safest, because they have tank walls to help them sort of deflect potential predators. So they're almost always on the bottom during the day, except when they get fed. We actually broadcast feed them at the surface of the exhibit, so the Sardine School needs to work their way up to the top of the tank in order to skim along to get their pellet and krill diets every day. So sometimes it's a little bit more of a harrowing act. On days that we feed the larger fish, we feed them first. So they're nice, full, and slow and happy. So when the sardines have to come up, they're not interested in them. So the sardines can eat in a fairly calm manner. But there are days where we just feed the sardines because we can't feed the big fast swimmers too much food. So those days you might see during a feed Sardine School like popping up here, popping up there, until that whole school kind of gets this whole consensus, and it's like, okay, we're going to do it. And they all come up to the surface in a big school, because being in school means you're much safer. So kids, stay in school or else you're going to get eaten by a mahi.
Right. There you go. Now now you know why you keep hearing that is, there you go. Yeah. And then also here, I'll just put the rest of us here up on screen, and I'll also transition here to this photo showing. So this is from a year or so ago with one of those sunfish that was ultimately released. But you can see there when the sardines come up there in front of the window there, you've got the visitors there in the front there. The sardines coming up. It's one of the most beautiful views there as well. Another thing with the schooling is that the more friends you have that look exactly like you, the more likely one of your friends will get eaten and not you. So playing the odds with all of the, if you have 10,000 friends, that's 20,000 eyes that are looking for where predators come from. So you would think swimming through that school, mouth open, really easy to do. And unless you're a whale that can eat the whole school all in one go, having more of you around actually makes it a lot more, a lot harder on the predator than if there's just one that you can aim for and tire out, basically. So very cool. Emily, did we feel like talking about FRTs with the Sardine School real quick?
I mean, we can.
Theresa, how do you feel about Sardine School FRTs? We get ready for this. Get ready for this. Okay, Emily, I'm gonna put you back up on screen here, Emily. Let's just describe this. This is something that we've mentioned to the Twitch channel previously, but how does a school of sardines like so coordinate?
Yeah, so we mentioned it a couple of times, and it's actually something that if you're ever standing in front of the Open Sea exhibit or watching the camera, and right now it's a little tough to tell because the bubble curtain is on, but if the bubble curtain's off, but you see a bunch of bubbles kind of rising up from the Sardine School, that's actually the sardines talking to each other. So there was a study quite a few years ago done studying communication in clupeids. So clupeids are a group of fish that include sardines and herrings, another fish there. But they were studying these herrings and trying to figure out how they communicated with each other and how they coordinated some of these schools. And there are different methods, but one of the most unique ways that they discovered these herrings were communicating with each other were through these bubbles. So they were releasing gas through an anal pore and those bubbles they can sense, you know, as they're rising up through the school of fish, basically their version of talking to each other. These very, very fast, small bubbles escaping through that anal pore there that they named fast repetitive ticks, or FRTs, which I think is just the scientists doing their very best to basically say that these fish are farting in order to talk.
There you go.
So fish farts. There
you
you
go.
go.
I just wanted to have Theresa up on screen for the reaction there, because
Yeah.
she was not aware. But that's what you get for hanging out with the social media team, is there's going to be potential. So there you go, Theresa. How do you feel about that? Did you feel...
I was waiting to see if you were going to get around to the fish farts.
The fish farts. It's a long walk to get there, but we made it. And thank you so much for being there with us.
It was worth it, I hope.
Totally. We're sorry, Theresa, that we Okay, all right. I'll take everyone back off screen. It's back to you, Emily. Let's see. We've got just a few more minutes left here with the audience before we can let Theresa head back to helping out with the animals. So what kind of questions should we try to conclude on here?
Yeah, I think this is a great question that we got over on Facebook. Folks curious if the animals, if you've noticed any change in their behavior without as many people in the building.
Yeah, there are definitely, I think, some minute behavior changes that we have sort of anecdotally observed in some of our exhibits. I'm not so sure if Open Sea is really one that would display some of these slight alterations of behaviors. Some of the smaller exhibits where fish are very close to the guests and they're used to seeing people walk by and take pictures, they've become, sort of desensitized to that movement. But now that we don't have any guests, they're out a little bit more because they're not as timid or not afraid of so much movement, but they are much more reactionary to any movement from the exhibit. And so it's only on a few exhibits that I've personally seen. A lot of our fish are always looking, and they can see out those windows, so they're looking back at you. So it's a very unique situation that we're in, and it's kind of cool to see how the fish have changed.
That's fascinating. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as we start heading back into times when we can have everyone back at the aquarium. Be interesting to see if we notice any new things there. I wanted to ask maybe one question for you, Theresa, sort of heading into the end here. So in your time working at the aquarium, working with these animals, if you wanted to give some words of encouragement and sort of like where to kind of aim for folks that might be looking into this work. We hear a lot about how many issues the ocean is facing. Just kind of generally news coming from out here isn't always super positive. But for you, your work, what do you feel the importance is of your work, and people who might be interested in, I really want to spend some time helping the ocean? What would you say to someone looking into doing what you're doing?
I mean, there's many ways to help either conservation efforts, cleaning up efforts of the ocean. A lot of us who are in my field have chosen a route of more of education. We're here to take care of these animals so they can be ambassadors to everybody else. A lot of people might not live near the ocean, or if they do, they might not swim in the ocean or scuba dive, so they don't ever get to see these animals and what is actually out there. They just see water. So the more we can expose everybody to what's actually living out there and some of their unique stories and struggles, helps us educate the public about what is out there and maybe why it should be conservation efforts or policies set into place to help protect these. The ocean is a major part of our world, and it's not just water. There's so many things living out there. And there's so many things we don't even know about yet. So I think, as an aquarist, we love taking care of our animals. That is our passion. But really the heart behind it is to help share our love for these animals, so then people now and people in the future understand why this is such an important topic.
Oh, that was awesome, Theresa. Thank you. Oh my goodness, I'm all choked up over here.
Oh.
Oh, that was great. Thank you, Emily.
A good motivational speech for the afternoon, Theresa.
Yeah, motivational. Even.
Motivational.
Yeah, excellent. I've got us all back up on screen. Let's see. We've got you another 3 minutes here, Theresa. How do you feel about maybe a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap it up? Or if there's any stories you really feel like you want to share right now with the folks about the open sea, is there anything that's like really just right there? Otherwise, we can go to a last question.
I'll answer some questions. See what you guys want to know about.
Okay. All right. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Emily, what do we think?
All right, some final questions that we're going to answer right now. This one I saw over on Facebook there. We had a young child curious, where do all of our fish come from, and have any been born at the aquarium before?
Ooh, that's a really big question. Overall, through the whole aquarium, not just open sea, some of our fish are born here, and we've raised them from small little baby fishes into whatever they grow into. Some fish we actually acquire from other institutions, like other aquariums or zoos. Maybe they have a surplus of a certain species that we're looking for. So there's a network of all of the aquariums that help each other out if they need, certain fish or jellies or really anything. We also can purchase fish through wholesalers that have been certified as sustainable collectors, or work with sustainable collectors. And we can also collect our own fish. We are lucky enough to have the Monterey Bay right outside our door. And through working through our permitting process, we are able to collect a few fish every year from the outside and bring them in so we can exhibit them for our guests. So several different ways.
Right on.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, well, how do we feel? I mean, it looks like we've hit the hour mark just about here, Emily. I just want to say here, I'll put us, big screen. Oh, there we go. Fully taking over the airwaves. Well, we wanted to say, first of all, thank you so much, Theresa, for your time, for going on this wild ride, for providing that fun little tour outside. If you folks are just tuning in, we've been talking to Theresa for about an hour. Lots of different things there. So make sure to watch this video replay. It'll be available on all of these social media sites. Once we wrap up the streaming here, you can watch the replay. So thank you, Theresa, so much. That was really, really wonderful. That was excellent.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
Yeah, this was actually really fun. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Phew, it was fun. All right. Oh, goodness. And Emily, thank you so much for talking to the audience, getting all those questions out there, for tackling fish FRTs. That was really critical, and a curveball that I threw your way, but knocked it out of the park. Thank you so much, Emily.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah, happy to come. Oh, there it was right there. And then I've been Patrick, the person moving all of the images around out of order and out of place. So if you see any stuff jumping around, you can blame this person over here. But thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this broadcast here from the Monterey Bay Aquarium while we are still sheltered in place. Thank you so much for being a part of the aquarium community, for helping support the aquarium. If you're looking into ways to support Theresa's work while we are closed, help feed those animals, you can head over to our website. We have a donate page over there. We also just launched our online web store. You can go take a look at that over there as well. Buy the merch, booyah! And got the caps, etc. If you want to support us that way, that would be excellent. But otherwise, thank you so much for being there, for being a part of that ocean-minded community, and for tuning in, we should say, to this Open Sea broadcast. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Hope to see you again soon at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
And I'll see if I can get us off screen. Theresa, you're on screen still. Sorry. Hold on. Oh, goodness. Oh no. I'll get you off screen very, very shortly. Okay, there we go. Bye, everybody.